Welcome back. A lot of people are starting to think about New Year's resolutions, maybe some goals about how you can actually put some money aside, create a budget, do all that fun kind of stuff. So with us today, we want to welcome back Anika Caldwell, the author of 23 and Debt Free. Welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Good morning.
So everyone is we're still in this holiday mode, but you have these sort of outside thoughts of, oh, that's right, 2020 is right around the corner. So what should we be doing to make sure we get ourselves in a good financial position?
You're right, 2020 is coming up faster than I think we all even realize. And so when I sit down with clients, I'm often encouraging them to be thinking about their goals. Doesn't matter where you're at with your financial plan, whether you're buried in debt or you're looking towards retirement and you've got a great nest egg, you always should have some goals on the horizon. And I think a great place to start for any individual or couple is to have what I call a dream date. And so that's, if you're married, you go out with your spouse, you pick a quiet spot. You don't have to go out and spend a bunch on dinner, but pick a quiet spot, no kids. If you're single, find like a mentor, an accountability partner, a friend, someone you look up to, but take that time to just really reflect and think, what is it we want to do? Where are we going? What are our goals? What are our dreams? What are the vacations we want to take? The things we want to do with our kids, but you have to start first and foremost thinking about those goals. What is it we want to do?
How much too, because you hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't like numbers, I don't, they've got sort of this negative association with money. How would you coach them through that?
Well, for me, I guess money touches every area of our life. And I don't love that, but that is just the reality of our society. And so I think that we can either try to ignore it, right? To be scared of it, ignore those numbers, and essentially let those numbers control us, or we can take control of it and we can be the one choosing and making the decisions for our money. And so that's really what I encourage people to do, is look at that from a perspective of like, are you living a reactionary relationship with your money, or are you in control of your money?
Yeah, it's very well said. I think plus clarity is power. Since you get some clarity on a budget or how you want to use it, it makes the decisions a lot easier, right?
Absolutely. I'm amazed how many times I sit down with a couple who's never put a budget together before, and it's not unlikely for them to find $1,000 that was just disappearing every month. It's that money that just gets spent without a thought because we aren't putting that plan in place beforehand.
But I mean, no one really likes a budget. So how rigorous, like for example, I know you have one. How rigorous are you with it, and how do you manage that so you're like, okay, this is good rather than this is painful?
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of scared by the word budget, and I think that's a good thing to be talking about, especially when we're thinking about these goals, because often our goals and dreams are fun things, right? It's, we want to take the kids to Disney World, we want to, travel to Europe on our retirement, whatever it is, we have these fun things, and so many times the word budget, like you said, is a negative connotation. But the reality is budgets can be a lot of fun. So our budget is, it's very strict. It gets set up before the month starts. We're going to stick to that budget throughout the month. If we have anything that comes up that's unexpected that isn't in that budget, we're going to sit down and we're going to have an emergency budget meeting, and we're going to figure out, what is it that we can do with that expense. So it is a very strict plan, but that's not to say we don't have fun on our budget. Like I just said, we're going on a date tonight. We've planned that into our budget. We've planned that fun right into our budget. And you can do the same thing with those goals. So once you have those goals in mind, translating them and making them into SMART goals, we've probably heard about that. That's specific, measurable, attainable, time-bound, realistic, those SMART goals. Now you have a method to achieving those goals that you're looking at.
So one last question is that you talked about, a budget. I know that your story is you at least had a lot of debt. You use this, how you coach people now to get out of it. Did you have like a little emergency fund even when you were in all that debt, or were you just putting it all towards the debt?
Absolutely. So we actually, this might sound really crazy, but we had a $1,000 emergency fund. And that's the recommendation. That's actually more than a lot of Americans have. 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency, which is terrifying if you ask me. But during that time, we had a $1,000 emergency fund. Once we made it through and had all of our consumer debt paid off, then we amped that emergency fund up to 3 to 6 months of living expenses.
Nice.
Yeah.
Website, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we have a website, 23anddebtfree.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and those are great ways to just follow along and get to know some of our tips and reach out to us if they have questions.
Good stuff. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. All right, stick around. We got much more coming up right after this.